I'd like to call the meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. I would ask if there's anyone else recording this meeting. Seeing lots of people and I'm recording, if you'd please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We do have some special recognitions this evening, so we will turn this over to Dr. Brunel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as noted, we have a large crowd in attendance tonight. We have many new professional staff members. We also have lots of support staff members who have joined our team. So I'm going to ask administrators to introduce those. Most of them appear to be here. There are some who may not have been able to make it. So I'm going to start with Mr. Hanfield, our high school principal. If you want to just go over to the podium and perhaps as he announces names, individuals can stand and just to be recognized.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. I'll try to be quick. Joining us today, Brittany Cronin. She is in our special education sub-separate classroom. Next to her is Mr. George Eisenhower. He takes over in our music department. And not present with us tonight is Ashley Kent. She is an inclusion special educator. Very excited to have all three of them with us, and they've already made a tremendous impact on our kids and with our staff. So it's been a great opening, and we're happy to have them.
Great.
Excellent. Welcome aboard. Is there anything you'd like to share with us? No? We're good?
Great, yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
so
great,
far so good.
Great crazy person.
Don't worry, it's that way for everyone. It's not going to change either.
Yeah. And now if Mr. Desto from the middle school would like to introduce his new team members.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. My first recruiting class for the Auburn Middle School staff, and you know, I want to try to keep them humble, but I must say that they really are a very talented group and off to a great start for us. I'll begin with our new 8th grade math teacher, Joe Green, who the kids have already taken to calling Mean Joe Green, out of respect though, I think. 7th grade science, Danielle LaBeouf. And we have a new nurse who has already demonstrated grace under pressure, Kellyanne Walsh. That's it for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
And now if Jen Stanek from Packagug would like to introduce her new staff.
Good evening and welcome back, everybody. I have 4 new staff members with us this evening that have joined us. I'm happy to introduce Carrie Estrella, our new school nurse. Alexandria LaFlamme, kindergarten teacher. Gina Benvenuti, first grade teacher. And Alexa Kennedy, kindergarten teacher. And they are off to a great start, and I'm proud to say that quite a few of them are also Auburn High grads.
Mrs. Mahan does not, actually I take that back. Do you want to introduce the part-time nurse? I know that Sherry Kane, probably not.
The permanent sub.
Oh, right.
Hi. We have a part-time nurse, Sherry Arena. She's not here with us today, but we're really happy to have her. She's doing a great job.
And do you want to introduce the permanent sub?
Oh, I will. We have Corey Macaruso, who is a permanent sub. We share with Packagug. She's not here as well.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And then Mrs. Reedy, would you mind introducing the district-wide staff members?
Hi, good evening. We're very fortunate to have 2 social workers with us this year. The first one is Jennifer Britcher. And our second social worker that we have now is Amanda Turnbull. I'm not sure she's here tonight.
Okay, that's great. We also have Erica Mahan, who's a registered nurse, stationed to start up at Swanson Road, but will be doing district-wide work. And then we saved.
She's not here right now?
I don't believe she's here. No. And I did save Dr. Lopez for last for a reason. She had the most hires this season. They seem to keep coming, but she got some terrific people, so as did all of the principals, but I will turn it over to Dr. Lopez.
I'd like to say you saved the best for last, but staying humble, like I heard my colleagues say. So we've had quite an eventful summer and start to the school year. I have some great staff to introduce to you first. First and foremost, our assistant principal, Jessica Pizzolidis. We also have our new guidance counselor, grade 3, Terry O'Donnell. Dr. Brunel already introduced our new school nurse, Erica Mahan. In grade 3, we have Deirdre Keenan, Michelle Caplet, grade 3, and Rhonda Murray, grade 3. In grade 4, we have Brady Dyer. And in grade 5, we have Angela Borda, Stephanie Fontaine, grade 5, and Jacqueline Quirian, grade 5. And we also have special educator Shiloh Vosberg. That's everyone. Thank you.
Wow, that was quite a crew. Well, welcome aboard, everyone. I'm sure they all left for good reasons. Don't be too concerned. She's really okay. If my colleagues would like to say anything to our newest members of the Auburn Schools Committee, community, I mean.
I think you guys picked the best district, personally. I mean, I did graduate from Auburn High, so. But welcome. If there's anything we can do for you, please feel free to reach out. But, you know, have a great year.
Same goes, welcome. We try really hard to support you guys. If there's ever a question you have or anything you need, bring it up to the administration or us. And we love to hear about the projects that you're doing. It really gives us a better idea of what's going on the ground. So if there's something that you think we'd like to hear about, please let these guys know.
And I'd like to thank you all for coming to Auburn. I remember how happy I was many, many years ago when I started in Auburn. And it was a dream come true, and I hope it will be for you too.
I agree with the three of them. Thank you for joining our team, and we look forward to what you guys have to offer to our district. Welcome.
Yep, welcome. Great to see all your happy faces here tonight, and we're glad to have you aboard. Especially happy to see some familiar faces out there. It's great when we can make those connections, and especially with the graduates, that's really fantastic that you care enough about your schools to want to come back here. So hopefully we're doing all the right things, and we can work together as a team, ourselves, as well as yourselves. And we're always here to support you in any way that you need. So thank you so much for coming.
So I will reiterate what I said to you at New Teacher Program. You have joined an elite group of professionals, including the administrators that are here. But I will tell you too, the Auburn School Committee, they mean what they say. They really are tremendously supportive, as is the entire Auburn community. So we're thrilled you're here. We know it's going to be a great year, so welcome.
All set?
If you just tell them they can.
Yes, you can leave. You're dismissed. Thank you for taking the time out of your day or evening.
Thank you.
Best of luck this year.
Bye.
Especially with Dr. Lopez.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Just loving
Good night.
your class. Yeah. Bye.
Well, I was surprised to see that other name on my agenda.
Bye, guys. Have a good
Bye.
night.
Have a nice night.
Great.
It's quite the disparity when Casey and Modesto was standing.
I know it
They had
is.
similar colored clothing.
Yeah.
Size.
Exactly. It is.
Awesome.
It is.
Okay, that was great.
Great.
And seeing no citizens, or seeing no one really, comment. Oh, you need
Cleaned them all
to
out.
recognize our newest
Yes, so I just wanted to quickly introduce you. So as you know, we have Allie Schoenfeld, who is returning from last year. She has done a tremendous job, and we're excited to have her back. But I also want to introduce to you Aaron Zhang, who is a junior. He came very highly recommended by the high school, particularly Mr. Kennard. And Aaron, actually, at our opening day, we had the Rocket Marching Band perform for us, and he was one of the conductors. So we're excited to have Aaron joining Allie.
Welcome, Aaron.
Thank you.
Hey.
Aaron, that girl knows karate, so stay on the straight and narrow.
She teaches my son some pretty mean karate.
Now, how about you, Aaron? Do you know any self-defense? Because she may try to take advantage.
I'll try.
Yeah, she's gonna have you covering meetings and saying that she's going to karate practices. It's a little game. No, I'm just kidding. She does a great job. Welcome aboard. I think you're gonna enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right. And do we have a report from our student representatives, or is it too early?
I mean,
Probably not a lot going on.
We can do it.
yeah, I think Aaron has a couple things about marching band too.
So hi, my name is Aaron, and I'm excited to be here. But I do a lot of clubs. I do marching band. I'm in a lot of academic clubs too, like Model UN, math team, science Olympiad. So for marching band, we've been rehearsing all summer. We've been really excited to show you guys our performance last Monday. This Monday we're supposed to have a performance at the Charlton Old Home Day Parade, but unfortunately we got rained out. It was unfortunate, but it's okay. And so we've been excited. Our first performance isn't for a little bit. We have 2 weeks before our first public performance. We're going to the Big E Parade, and we're gonna do a parade there. So we're really excited to do that. And just in other school stuff, a bunch of clubs have just been starting. For example, Science Olympia just had their first meeting today. Model UN has their first meeting tomorrow after school, and then Activity Band, which is like a small program for concert band kids to come down even if they don't have the band in their schedule, starts next Monday.
Great.
I don't have nearly as much to report as Aaron. I think he covered a lot of that, but NHS is starting to, just like you said, like a lot of the clubs are starting. We recently, me and Mr. Kennard and I today, filled the bags of candy because we do a candy fundraiser. Snacks throughout the day are necessary for us, so candy is a good sale. So we sell we put 15 things of candy in a bag and we sell it. So you can either buy $15 worth of candy or one for $1. But our first meeting is next week, but
Excellent. Well, I hope you have a wonderful school year. Welcome aboard, Aaron. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, just welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for stepping up.
Great to get to know you.
I would now seek approval of the minutes of July 30th.
Good job.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. We now move on to the superintendent's report.
You guys
Thank
can
you,
go if
Mr.
need to.
Cheers. Just as they're leaving, I will tell you, Dr. Chamberlain and I visited all of the schools on Wednesday and Thursday, and there were, as has become a tradition, the seniors, many of them had on tie-dye T-shirts that they had made, and in the classroom that Allie was in, the students were encouraging or hoping for many snow days as seniors because they didn't have to make those up. So I hope there won't be any, but we will see.
I think the Farmer's Almanac is on their side.
I did report that to them.
Unless we do your snow bags.
Unless
So-
we do my snow bags. Yes,
That's
that would be
true.
cool.
Actually, through the chair, those are being eliminated.
Yeah, I heard
To the
that.
Department of Ed.
They did mine.
The snow bags or the alternate, the inclement weather bags, they actually, I think if anyone had approved it, they were able to use them for this year, but they've eliminated.
They're getting rid of them?
forward. Yeah, so.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Let's go with no snow days then.
Exactly. So just wanted to update you, I have been appointed to the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, the Professional Development Committee. I'm a representative for Worcester County. So we're gonna have monthly meetings. Our first one is October 18th, just to plan pertinent learning opportunities for members of MASS. So I just wanted to make you aware of it, but I'm excited to be part of that team, so it should be good.
Congratulations.
Yeah, only you would be
Thank
excited.
you.
Yes, I
Now.
Just add it to our roster.
So, wanted to just confirm for you that the multi-hazard plans have been updated for the current school year. This in compliance with Chapter 159 of the Acts of 2000. section 363. So Chief Slukas has signed, Chief Coleman, and I. So I want to thank both of them, but also want to just sincerely thank, as I hope I do regularly, the Safety Advisory Team for their tremendous work. They work particularly closely with the principals, and for the multi-hazard plans, it's most notably School Resource Officer Kennedy, and just to make sure that everything is up should there ever be an issue. So we're in good shape there. We hope we never have to implement it, but it's ready should we need to do so.
Good to know.
The next item we have, Mrs. Worsbicky and Dr. Chamberlain and I put together with Mr. Fahey the warrant articles, the proposed one for the fall special town meeting. So that is planned for October 15th. So in your packet, there are 4 articles. So the first one, if you'll remember, at the May annual town meeting members approved us receiving $2,500, which is a reimbursement for homeless transportation. And this is coming directly from the state. We put that in as a placeholder, uncertain as to how much the district would receive. So actually, the town has received $2,978, so we're gonna look to amend that to get that full amount. But noted in the explanation, the school department actually spent $8,533 in service of this, but they only give a percentage back, so the $2,978, so we'll look to get that in total. Article 2 speaks to the Medicaid reimbursement. So as we do annually, we look to see how much we received in the previous year. And as noted in the explanation, we received just over $221,000. So it's difficult to pinpoint exactly what we expect, but based on our student population, we're going to recommend increasing from the 185 that was approved at the annual town meeting to the 200,000, believing and feeling confident that we will receive that money. We then just turn around and use that money as an offset in the budget. So hopefully the school committee, the town meeting will approve that. And then Articles 3 and 4 are both for relatively small amounts of money. We're just looking to repurpose CIP funds. Article 3 talks about Packagug rehab. They've completed the bathroom upgrades, and there's a $4,647.30 remaining. So we'd like to transfer that into the Univent, the upgraded installation project that'll be upcoming. And then finally, number 4 is to authorize the remaining $11,360.88 to be used for stage upgrades. So we've completed the phone upgrades, and as stage backdrop was replaced, there's some money remaining, so we'd like to use it for the stage, likely for some flooring work, but potentially some sound system work as well. So I don't know if you have any questions on that. Otherwise, it is my recommendation that you approve those.
Any questions or comments regarding these articles? No?
The list seems very well thought out. I'd make a motion to approve the warrant articles as presented.
But any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, this vote.
Thank you. So the next 2 items, these are annual appointments that you make. Recommend that I stay as the representative to the Southern Worcester County Educational Collaborative Board. I am serving as the chair of that board this year, but to have me serve as the representative for the Auburn Public Schools.
Would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to appoint Dr. Mary Ellen Brunel, Superintendent of Schools, as the Auburn Public Schools representative on the Southern Worcester County Education Collaborative Board.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
Yeah. Seems like we've got plenty of time. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there's a vote.
And then finally to the Assabet Valley Collaborative Board. It is my recommendation. I have served, we are full voting members now, but I've been on the board now for a couple of years and recommend that I stay in that capacity.
I would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to appoint Mary Ellen Brunel, Superintendent of Schools, as the Auburn Public Schools representative on the Assabet Valley Collaborative Board.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just have a question. I know we use the Southern Worcester County Collaborative one. We've been using that forever.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a steady group of students that go to Assabet, or is it just one here, one there?
So through the chair, we actually, this actually came with the recommendation of our Director of Pupil Services, because she's really familiar with the programming. So the program that they offer differs, so it really depends on the profile of the student. So we currently do have students in both places, and it really varies based on student needs. Yes.
Thank you.
Question, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote.
We received another generous donation, this in the amount of $1,300 from Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank for our AED ongoing initiative, and it is my recommendation that you accept it with gratitude.
I would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to accept with gratitude the donation from Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank in the amount of $1,300 towards the AED initiative.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just another question. Do we have AEDs almost everywhere now, or do we still have a lot of places that still need them?
So through the chair, with the donations that we have received, plus the $15,000 that did come in from the state, we are going to be able to fully put AEDs in every location. So those have been ordered, those will be in, and once they're installed, we're going to be doing some press releases around that. And Darcy Cook, who is the owner of Safety Trainers, she and her family, they're going to be offering some free trainings, because once they're in place, we want to train as many people across the community in the use of the AED as possible. So we'll be building teams of people to do that.
Oh, that's great.
It's wonderful.
Now, do they need any kind of maintenance, or?
So through the chair, one of the things I will say, the CPR AED team, we have, based on donations received plus what we received from the state, we have a revolving account established that's going to be used for the upkeep and maintenance of them. So it's still being worked out whose responsibility that will be to go and check them, because across the town, we really have a tremendous number of them once these ones are
Yeah.
installed.
Yes.
But to check the pads and the batteries on those, but there is money set aside to
Oh,
do
good,
that.
great.
Yes.
That is great. Any other comments or questions? No? Just thank you to those who donate. It's great to see the community come together for such a great cause.
And
Thank you to Mrs. Cook and
Yeah,
all the
absolutely.
others.
To that point, I've drafted a letter. Town Manager Jacobson and I have talked, because all of these donations are being accepted by the school committee and the select board, and that way, because they're placed throughout town. So I've drafted a letter and we're finalizing it, and once these final donations come in, we'll send letters of thanks, and I'll give you a copy of those to everyone who's donated.
Great.
So,
Great.
yes, absolutely. And there will be a plaque that will go up that signifies the different organizations that have
terrific.
donated. Yes.
Perfect. Better than putting one of the bricks with a name on it. And this is something that could actually make a huge difference. Not that the money that comes from the brick pavers isn't
Mhm.
great, but this is really phenomenal.
It's great.
idea.
It's great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a vote.
Happy to share, Mrs. Mahan let us know that they received 10 backpacks filled with school supplies donated to Bryn Mawr School from Premier Real Estate. Included in your packet is a letter of thanks, and it is my recommendation that you accept that donation with gratitude.
I would entertain that motion.
I'll make a motion to accept with gratitude the donation of 10 backpacks filled with school supplies from Premier Real Estate in Uxbridge.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote.
And wanted to make you aware, we have another educator in the Auburn Public Schools, Karen Fridella. She has come before you. She is a French teacher at the high school. She takes students to Quebec every other year, and then France as well. She's in her doctoral program, and as part of that, she's conducting action research. So it's all around restorative justice program that she is a part, advisory program that she's a part of. She'll get parent approval, but I just wanted to make you aware that she's conducting that research with our students, and she'll protect the anonymity and all of the other safeguards required.
Great.
And then finally, Erin had mentioned the Charlton Old Home Day Parade that they apparently were not able to participate in due to rain, but they have a very busy schedule ahead of them. Our marching band, they did just an outstanding job on our opening day. It was so fun to see them all, and because for high school teachers, probably see them more often than others, for the rest of the staff to see them in their full regalia and to perform was really a nice way to end our program on last Monday, so it was great. They've come so far,
Oh, yeah.
so far.
short amount of time.
Very short, yeah, absolutely.
How long has it been now?
So I think
5
it was
years?
in 2013, I think is when it first came back
Yeah,
to life.
yeah, they're doing great.
And I ask a question, I see like the football and stuff, and I've been watching on the news that a lot of districts aren't holding events in the evening, and I'm wondering if we've gone along with that too.
So through the chair, we're actually, that's a great question. We're collecting data on area school districts. So it appears to be somewhat hit or miss. I had a conversation actually today with Darlene Coyle from the Board of Health. And she sent me information. We had a discussion regarding Auburn still being at the moderate level. So what we've agreed to do is Mr. Davis, our athletic director, is collecting data on area school districts. So if there are a number of them who are going to early afternoon or early evening events to try to be done by 6, we will probably go that same. We're just waiting to get the rest of the data. So currently, people feel that with the information that we have in hand and with people taking those safeguards, wearing long sleeves, putting bug spray on and things, it should be fine, but we're continuing to monitor it. So if that changes, I'll be sure to let the committee know.
We may be in a little different situation than some of the other districts as well, based on the placement of our field. It's in the middle of a town, not to say that mosquitoes aren't everywhere, but some of these other football teams, their fields up at the woods and up at swamps and lakes. And most of them that I can think of are more wooded areas.
But I believe they did spray Packagug Hill last night,
Yeah,
They did.
so it's pretty close.
yeah, I would say. It's scary stuff.
It is.
We now move on to unfinished business.
So I wanted to share with you some good news. You had unanimously supported the use of funds from the Special Education Stabilization Fund. That request is actually going to be postponed. The placement, I may come back to you later in the fall to reinstitute it or with a different number, but the placement has been postponed, so there's no need to use that, and town manager and CFO are both aware of that.
Okay.
Did want to let you know, as I do annually, to provide the class size updates. As you can see, I was noticing and spoke to Dr. Lopez recently. Fortunately, you shared and approved, I should say, the addition of a 3rd grade teacher and a 5th grade teacher this year. So clearly, we could not have done without those. And while we wish that particularly the Bryn Mawr kindergarten numbers were smaller than they are at 25, the good news is each of those classrooms has a full-time aide in it. And if you remember from last year, it was actually almost the opposite. Packagug had the larger sizes. When Dr. Chamberlain and I were walking around visiting classrooms last week, one of the veteran kindergarten teachers said, I had 25 last year, and to have, I don't know if she said 21 or 23, makes such a difference, and it does, you know, with those bodies. So they're larger than we wish, but we'll continue to keep you apprised. But I feel comfortable at least in knowing that we've got a full-time aide in each of those classrooms.
That's definitely helpful.
So, through the chair, if I may, I actually have one question just about how prepared we would be if this becomes another bubble that we've seen in other years past or different grades. Do we have somewhere to put, if we needed a 5th first grade classroom for next year? I know we tend to see a lot of people, our numbers tend to keep going up until October, so.
So through the chair, that's a great question. The good news is at Bryn Mawr School, you had approved a couple of years ago a 5th first grade class, 5th first grade teacher who traveled with the kids to 2nd grade, and then that position went to Swanson. So we do have a designated spot that we could add. So we're going to really be monitoring these numbers carefully. We're looking for us to analyze the NESDEC report that you authorized for that to come in. To take a look, and as we'll soon be starting budget season for next school year, we may, based on these numbers, put in a placeholder for an additional first grade teacher, which is probably wise to do at least early in the process and then monitor how it goes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great, thank
Yes.
you.
You're welcome. And then also wanted to share with you the withdrawals and new registrations that we have received with a net gain, I think total overall of 55 students. But I will tell you, there will be fluctuation in these. because we don't always know about withdrawals. People may not remember to do it if they've moved to a new location. So we will update this information for you with the net gain or loss with the October 1st report, so that you'll actually get at the October 2nd meeting. But as you can see, our district, as it has in the past, at least based on these numbers, continues to grow. So Auburn is, in the real estate market would say the same, is a desirable place to be, and certainly Auburn Public Schools as well. And then wanted to also let you know about the asteroid, satellite, and galaxy registrations. So as you can see, and I think this really is a testament to those individuals who lead and work in these programs, they're very much sought after by parents for safe opportunities for children to do homework, to engage in some physical activity, and some downtime and relax. So they're very well attended across the district. And these numbers continue to fluctuate too, I will tell you.
Through the chair, actually I have one question about that as well, because some of these are quite high. Do we ever hit a limit? I mean, just in terms of how many kids we can handle.
So through the chair, I will tell you, particularly at Swanson, the after-school program with 114. So we actually stopped taking registrations and we advertise this to parents from August 19th to September 6th. So that way we can make sure that we have appropriate and ample staff. So we basically try to keep it to slightly less than a 10-to-1 ratio, 1 staff member to 10 students. Dr. Lopez is concerned about the 114 because where they're located and even, adding additional staff. So we're looking at that because we may be getting to the point where we need to cut that program off in total. We're looking at that. So I will keep you apprised. I think the other programs, certainly Packagug, their after-school numbers are high. So we want to try and balance making it convenient for families because it's right at school and it's safe. But we also want to make sure that it's safe and appropriate for kids too. So we're looking at that.
Is Asteroids the middle school program?
It is,
it all?
for 6th grade students, yes.
I'd hate to see, through the chair, sorry, I'd hate to see like teacher burnout too, people working in these programs,
Yeah.
It's a lot of kids.
It is. It is, I agree.
That's a good point. It would be difficult if we lost a few of them, mid-season. That wouldn't be good.
And I will tell you through the chair, we're really fortunate. We have a number of high school students who work in the after-school programs and help support too. So they, all of the staff who work in there do a great job. But the high school students, they're a nice addition.
Yeah,
that's great.
I bet the kids relate to them well too.
They do.
How does Mr. Hanfield handle that piece of it as far as interviews or nominations or recommendations?
So it actually comes through the guidance office, so they will post a sign in there and make recommendations. In fact, one was just hired today for the after-school program up at the high school, the preschool program that's there before they transition up to Packagug. So it comes with recommendations, from staff.
Is it a volunteer position or is it?
They're paid.
Service? Oh, they are
No,
paid.
they're actually paid.
Mhm.
Yes, it's a great way for kids to earn some extra money. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. And then finally, back on January 8th, Mrs. Worsbicky and I brought before you a vote and you unanimously supported rescinding the authorization for the Auburn Middle School. So if you'll recall, the town needed to bring forward requests from town meeting approval for the full cost to build Auburn Middle School, recognizing that MSBA was going to spend about 54%, pay about 54%. The number that you voted to rescind, the $23,925,234, was actually given to us. It was not the correct number. So in speaking with Mr. Kazanovich, we've made a recommended motion to amend that vote of January 8th, and rather than rescinding the $23 million, instead you're going to rescind the value of $20,185,375. And then that will go to town meeting, and we'll rescind it, and it's actually helpful to the CFO and town manager when they look to update the bond rating, so that that's no longer on the books.
I would extend that motion.
Make a motion to amend the vote of January 8th, 2019 that rescinded the value of $23,925,234 for the Auburn Middle School project, instead rescinding the value of $20 million, $185,375 that was authorized but not issued for the Auburn Middle School building project.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Confused, but.
Whatever we need to do.
All
Gotta
in
keep the
favor?
book straight.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it was a
Aye.
vote. And moving on to new business.
So included in your packet are my draft goals and educator plan for the current school year. And it's noted in here, I just want to be sure to give recognition to not only to Dr. Chamberlain, but the entire leadership team, because as Harry Truman once said, it's amazing what you can accomplish if you do not care who gets the credit. And I think that really speaks to the leadership team's practice, because they are listed as my goals, but they're ones that in fact we'll all work towards the accomplishment of.
Well said. I would entertain that motion.
Make a motion to approve the superintendent's goals as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Through the chair, just question about the school configuration study team.
Yes.
Are we thinking of moving some grades around, or?
So through the chair, one thing that, so this year we have 3 preschool classrooms at the high school, and we have two up at Packagug. So one thing we found last year, the members of the preschool study team, that many parents weren't taking advantage of the after-school program because at the high school it ended at 4 o'clock. And parents' work schedule didn't manage for that. Much at the high school, it's still a busy place. It's not as well staffed late in the afternoon. Students are all about. So we made the decision this year that we're transporting kids from the high school program up to Packagug, so that program is open until 6 o'clock, so parents can stay. So as part of that, it required considerable shuffling with buses and how are we gonna get the kids there and still get them home and have ample numbers through the bid that we had done with AA, who's been tremendous in working with us. So one of the things we had talked about years ago was, is it time for us to potentially consider a pre-KK school and a grade 1-2 school? That would eliminate having preschool in 2 different schools and programming like that. So that's one of the things that we want to look at. It wouldn't require any additional space, but just how we configure them. So we want to look at it from 2 facets. Educationally, does it make sense? And then fiscally. Because one of the things, educationally they say, the number of transitions that children have, we have to, look at that and see if there's going to be any fiscal impact or benefit to doing it. So we're hoping to come back to you by no later than February, but quite honestly, I'd love for us to have a recommendation by December. So if there is any fiscal impact, we can make sure that it gets reflected in the budget. But that's what we're looking at there.
Because our numbers are just so big.
They are.
And then, through the chair to follow on, are we anticipating more growth in the preschool program? Are we capped out at this point in terms of how many students we can take?
So I would tell you there are ratios because we have an integrated preschool program. So there are ratios you need to meet with students with special needs and non-special needs students. So we don't have a lot of openings available in our preschool program. Now, we also want to balance that with the great private preschool programs that there are in the community, and we work really closely with those individuals. So that's another part of the discussion. So I think that, with the sliding fee scale that the school committee approved a number of years ago, I think we are reaching more families who might not have had their children in preschool, which is a great thing. So we may want to try and, if they don't have older children in the schools, we don't necessarily have access to them to know. But I think that'll all be part of the whole discussion.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have grown tremendously in preschool programming. Used to be all half day, and we have full day options. So it's great. It's great.
Through the chair, it'd be great to have them all in one building, because it's a lot more
Mm-hmm.
cohesive.
That's what I think too. Yeah. Even for staff to be collaborating
Yeah.
together and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. It was a vote.
I did want to make you, or we wanted to make you aware that there are 3 contracts up there that'll end on June 30th of 2020. As we've done in the past, Dr. Chamberlain will join Mrs. Worsbicky and I. So we have custodians, instructional assistants, and secretaries. Now, none of them have come forward yet asking to negotiate, but that typically happens around about the end of the calendar year. We start in January. But it's up to you, you don't have to decide tonight, but whether any of you want to serve as representatives, or if you'd like us to do the negotiations, obviously getting input from you prior to and throughout.
Any comments or questions regarding that?
I think through
We
the
don't
chair, I
need
think
to-
it's worked very well, having you guys just bring us the information. Sometimes having us there might muddy the waters a bit, even just for scheduling, you know?
Yeah.
It's just my 2 cents.
I feel like in some cases it may even throw off those who you're negotiating with. These individuals that they're used to dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and then kind of step in there. And really, as Dr. Brunel said, we can be kept abreast of what's going on every other week, if not more often than that, should something come up.
And we don't have any particular issues with any of those groups, so.
We don't. No, we don't.
No, I think I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, less cooks.
Okay. Okay, great.
Besides, you'd probably make it at 6 a.m. anyhow.
Yeah,
That wouldn't go with me.
Or 6 p.m.
Well, I could do that if I tried a little harder.
And then finally, upcoming events, as you can see, curriculum nights are sprinkled throughout the upcoming weeks, and we really are off to a great start, so we're excited.
Good. Excellent. We now move on to business and financial. Do we not?
Teaching and
Oh,
learning.
teaching and learning. Oh, I skipped right by that.
Mhm.
Sorry.
That's okay. So just a few updates, I'll be brief, but we had a great opening day. The marching band was certainly the highlight, but it was great to have everyone together. Our welcoming back to all of the new staff members, and we took our school bus tour around town and they loved it, so it was really a nice start for them. We have had a lot of summer professional development that's taken place over the course of the summer. Most of it facilitated by teachers, recommended by teachers, and driven by teachers. So I gave you a list that's not even comprehensive. There were a few that I didn't include, but there really was a lot of great work happening, and we now have capitalized on using Google, the shared drives in Google for each team within the district. We're continuing to build those so that we have a place where all appropriate, up-to-date documents are kept for everyone who can access them to, again, try and bring that continuity and consistency to curriculum and how that's all played out to kids. Google is great, but sometimes things can they can go places you can't find them, and this is really gonna help us to up our game as far as organization goes. So I appreciate all the work the staff did during the summer, because it really moves our curriculum forward, and they did a great job. Summer school was a very busy place. I don't know if anyone was around the middle school, but it was a full house. So yeah, we had nearly 250 students in K-6, all funded through Title I, with small class programming. Class sizes were, no more than 12 or 14 around there. And yeah, they came for 4 weeks. We also had our kindergarten readiness program again this year for 3 weeks, which was very well received. Again, that's not an academic kind of summer school when you think of it, but it's getting children ready for that structure, sitting at a table, having snack, following some directions, sitting for a book, those kind of things. So that I think has been a great addition. Plus it lets our staff get to know our incoming students, where otherwise we really only know them from a few visits. So it's really wonderful.
Question?
I was actually just going to say, is it all, or who is that open to?
Yeah.
Is it for all
So
of
through
them, or
our
did you
screening
just-
process that we do in the spring, we identify students who we think may benefit from that. Because as you well know, right, some kids are ready to walk in on day one and others not so much. And some of it is just because they're young, Some of it is they need a little bit of structure to what they see. So it's just a nice way to get some of those kids in that otherwise could struggle once they get into school on the start. This kind of helps with that whole transition again, so that on the first day they're better prepared for the classroom.
Great, thank you.
And I was going to ask, the regular students that came, were they receiving Title I help during the school year? So
Some.
that made them eligible for the summer school? or-
Some were, some weren't. We do another summer school look at all of our data in the early spring to see where kids are at that point, and then we can recommend from there.
Okay.
We're
So they get
fortunate.
like an you're invited to come to summer school letter,
Yeah.
and mommy and daddy go, yeah.
Yeah. And I will tell you, Auburn is very fortunate with the net we can cast for the number of kids we can invite. It's really tremendous. And we do a survey at the end of staff and families to see what they think about it, and they were just very positive about the program, so it's
Good.
great.
Thanks for that explanation. I know that when some parents receive that notice, they're a little bit concerned, but it doesn't always mean that the student is far behind
No.
all of their peers. It just means that, as you said, they may need a little bit of an adjustment and
Yep.
just to become comfortable with the surroundings.
Yep, yeah, and it's the same thing for the kids invited to this Title I programming. Kids, parents will call them, is my son gonna stay back? But we're just able to offer to such a wide range of students, right? So just the student who needs that little extra practice and is gonna benefit from, some extra game practice or a reinforcement of some skills, they can really then, it mitigates that summer slide that some kids have.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. And we have a lot of consistent staff now who have done it year after year, which also helps because they're not starting fresh every year, so it's wonderful.
I had taught that for a number of years in the summer, and we tried to make it fun, and there's
Yeah.
snacks and everything,
Yep.
so, yeah, they came very happily to summer school.
Yeah, they really do. They really do. Because it's a lot, in some of the classrooms, they'll set up little beach scenes with the blankets and umbrellas, all those things to make it fun for kids, so it's awesome. We did run Camp Invention once again. That was very well received. I will tell you that summer is a very busy place in the Auburn Public Schools. Between the work teachers are doing in summer school and the camps and all of that, it's wonderful. Our extended school year programming also had over 50 students who came. So that's summer school for students with special needs. That's another busy place, but really, again, they try and make it fun for them too. So they have a little courtyard area at the middle school, and they had a little play area out there for the younger students so that they could have some outside time during their day as well. So, we know all kids need some summertime too, so. And on to some new opportunities. Can I move on to that? So this is something, this Bridge for Resilient Youth in Transition. This was a program that actually Dr. Lozay, back in early spring with Mrs. Reedy, had begun to look into. It's a program through the Brookline Center for Community Mental Health. And it's a program designed as a bridge for students who have been perhaps outplaced, hospitalized, out of school for an extended illness, have had a concussion, like a serious concussion issue that sometimes requires a long transition back into school. And the program is staffed by an academic person and a clinician. So an adjustment counselor, or a social worker, whoever the school can kind of muster to do that. We've been able to do some rescheduling and shuffling at both the high school and the middle school to kind of get those people available. And the folks from Bright come in and they have a very structured program where they set goals for students. They monitor the progress. The academic person serves as the liaison for the student to the classroom teachers so that the student keeps up with their academic work, but at a pace and at an appropriate level that they can manage based on whatever the reason is that they were put into this transitional program. While the clinician also deals with any social or emotional issues related to that absence for them. And the goal is that within 6 or 8 weeks, and it doesn't mean they're in this program full time, it might be part of the day. For some kids, it might be all of the day, but it's temporary. With the goal always being, how are we transitioning the child back into school? And it was interesting, the last meeting we had, the gentleman from Bright talked about that academic person, when the child comes back just in the middle school, making a connection with each teacher to say, okay, what are the assignments they've missed? What do they have to make up? How does this happen? And they kind of organize it for the student. And I said, can you imagine any 7th grader who's out for an extended period of time doing that on their own?
Yeah.
Just that for any child who might be out for any purpose is going to be overwhelming and probably seeming insurmountable. So already it kind of would put them behind the 8 ball for that transition back into school, right? And now they have this person, and we're not doing it for them, but we're just creating a structure that's going to make them more successful. And what do we hope, right? We hope that this program allows us to better serve students within the school who now begin to show maybe some social emotional issues, who are becoming school refusal kids, that maybe transitionally, if we get them here, we can easily get them back in, instead of it becoming a real school refusal, and now what do we do? It's very well regarded. It is fairly inexpensive for what the work that they do with us for schools in Massachusetts. They focus on schools in Massachusetts. They do it for schools outside of Massachusetts, and it's very expensive, their services, because it is a very well-regarded program. So it's just going to be a tremendous addition to what we can offer kids when we begin to focus on their social emotional needs and keeping kids in, right? Keeping them here and helping them through those rough patches when they get there.
Sounds great.
Is it all done through in the schools, or is it in a separate building?
Nope, it's all done in the schools, yeah. So the whole idea is that you want to keep them as close to being in school as you can, while providing the emotional and the academic support they need to get over whatever that hump is that they're now facing.
So the personnel that are doing that, are they Auburn's employees, or are they from this organization?
They are Auburn employees.
All right.
It's required some very creative scheduling on the part of Mr. Hanfield and Mr. Desto, along with some work with their teams to see how they can work it, because some of the kids that an adjustment counselor might work with in their office are going to be some of the kids that they're going to service now in this program. So it's just a reconfiguration really of the staffing that we have in a way that's guided by this protocol that Bright has developed to really meet all the needs of the kids so that they can transition. So it's a temporary setting. You're not going to have kids that are placed in, it's not like a permanent placement where now that's your classroom. It's a placement to get you back into class.
And then through the chair, does this, am I correct to assume that this would also require some in-home visits for some of our, will our staff be going to the homes, or are we trying to always bring them in, even just for?
Yeah, so this is really all happens in school.
Okay.
However, there is a big component with making the connection with the family.
Okay.
So to make sure that we've established a good relationship with the family, that the family understands what's happening in school, that we provide guidance to the family on maybe how they can support at home, but it's not something where we're providing services in the home.
And if there isn't a student at the time, the teacher that's doing this would then work with the regular population somehow, or?
Yes,
I mean,
but
it'd be something else for them to do is what I'm saying.
Yeah, yes, but we talked to, part of what we went through with the gentleman from Bright was talking about what's the profile of the student who is usually in this program. And in speaking with him and Mr. Hanfield and Mr. Desto, their understanding of their students, they really feel like they're going to have kind of a constant flow of at least 10 to 12 students that would make sense to receive support through this program. So they didn't feel like that was at all going to be the case. I mean, right, the proof will be when we start and we do it, but they felt quite confident that they had some students that seemed to match the profile described by the gentleman from
And
Bright.
who would be overseeing the teachers that are working with the students? Their principals or a special education person, or?
Yeah, so there may be a special education person involved, but certainly the principal, they're still part of the building. It's not separate. It's still, it's embedded within the daily work of the school, because that's what we want. We want the kids to stay as close to their peers as they can.
And then one more question. So the clinicians that we mentioned, and I understand that this could vary from mental to physical health, are we also liaising with, like, for example, I know you mentioned concussion. Are we also working with their actual physician on what they're capable of doing motor-wise, or are we more leaning on the social workers that we just added, or how is that?
Yeah, so in the case of a concussion, right, we would go with doctor's orders, right, for sure. But there may be we often reach out to physicians to say, okay, and a physician will give guidance based on a concussion, with what's an appropriate amount of time, what's the type of environment, what's the type of work they can do. We get that information from physicians now. So that would not change. We're not going to override anything that a physician would say. It's just, I know in the past, there are a lot of kids who can only do a limited amount of time, and even at that, they can't have a lot of screen time associated with that. So it could be there are some things they can do, but the classroom might be doing some heavy screen time. This could be a place that maybe temporarily they could still keep up with their work so that they don't end up behind, but they can do it in a place that's appropriate and safe for their condition.
Because with a concussion through the chair, they can't read for a long period of time in
Yeah.
screens. So this would be great, then they could still go to school without.
Yep.
Okay. Through the chair. So it's to target the kids that have missed school for various reasons or whatever. So what if this program starts and the kid stops coming to school? What happens then?
And it isn't all about kids who miss school, so it can also be for the student who really begins to present some very challenging behaviors that are making it impossible or very difficult to keep the child in class. So, you know, we look at those as behaviors, but the behaviors come from somewhere, right? There's something that's causing the child, like I said at the beginning day, right? There's no such thing as a bad kid, just a kid who's scared or angry or worried or all of those things, and their behavior is expressing how they feel. So this program would allow to kind of get to the bottom of that. Why? Why is this behavior happening in class? And then to work that child through it to get them back into class. So it isn't always about that, but that's some of the ones that almost always typically fall into this program. But it isn't the only way you come in by being out of school.
I think I would love to hear how this goes in the first year. If we can get like a mid-year report or something, because given all the issues that we're seeing kids, even just having social emotional issues, I mean, I think this is going to be a huge boon to our offerings, and hopefully it'll help our kids a lot. But I would love to hear more, I'm sure.
Well, Mr. Hanfield and Mr. Desto are very excited about it, as are the staff that's going to be involved. But it really right now, so we're not even looking to have this up and running till probably mid-October, because there's a lot to get done to make sure that it goes properly. But they will certainly be willing to come and speak to you once the program is up and going, to tell you a bit about how it works in the school.
That sounds excellent. As a district, it's always our goal to keep our students here with us and not have to ship them anywhere for any reason, unless they're in danger.
Yes.
But this is just another initiative that's going to help out with that. So it's a great program.
And this kind of tags on to that, but Strengthening Families is another extension of this. Again, another program that was started last spring. This will take place at Auburn Middle School. It's being funded through the Title IV grant. Our guidance staff there, along with our 2 school psychologists, they're in the process of inviting some families. These would be kids with families that maybe have had some behavioral struggles in school, or perhaps there's some school refusal kind of things, a variety of emotional needs, or maybe the family is just struggling as a family unit. And so the guidance counselors know these families best. So they're in the process of reaching out. We hope to get 10 families to join us for 8 weeks of programming at the middle school. It would take place from 5:30 to 8 in the evening, once a week for 8 weeks. There's a structured curriculum that some of the staff would go through. So it begins with a group dinner. And then from there, there's a group for the kids and a group for the parents. And then at the end of the evening, they come together as a full group to again go through some of the issues. You know, some of the things: peer pressure, managing stress, speaking and listening, conflict resolution, those kind of things. But it's looking at it not only from the child's perspective, but also from the parent, and then kind of trying to bring that all together. So the staff is very enthusiastic about it. We are very much hoping that we can have 10 families to come. It's a big commitment for 8 weeks like that. But we have a good plan in place with personal phone calls being made, and they're reaching out to kids and families they all directly know and all of that. So we are very optimistic that we'll be off and running. I think the first one is October 17th. So
I'm thrilled that we were able to offer this, because you know, families go through all sorts of things, and it's a tough age. Are we looking for this program in particular to be a pilot program? Would this be something we try to offer once a year, twice a year? I guess what's the long-term goal for this?
Yeah, so I think we have to see how we go, right? And I think we have to see how our community embraces the program, because just because we think it's good, if we can't make it speak to the families, it's not going to work. But I suspect that if it is successful, and I believe it will be because of the enthusiasm of the staff, I can't see why we wouldn't have this as a rotating kind of thing that we could offer. It's their first run through with the curriculum itself too, so I think that's gonna speak a lot to the staff with what worked and what didn't work.
Wonderful.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, last thing, and I'm done. This is another exciting thing, though. Recently, this DESE let us know that there's now a state seal of biliteracy that high school students can learn as a designation on their high school transcript. And they're doing this so that it's a way for them to recognize the value of language diversity and to let employers and universities know that this student is considered bilingual and proficient in 2 languages. And so to qualify for that, they have to be proficient on the ELA MCAS and also obtain at least an intermediate or high-level score on the ACT for foreign language. So there are additional options for students whose first language is not English, right, and are learning English. And some of that goes through a rubric and a kind of a performance assessment that can be conducted. So they have made it a very inclusive option, for kids to get. And there are a few different ways you can go about that. So I'm working with Mr. Hanfield now on a flyer to go out to families. We're going to be meeting with guidance to make sure everyone knows that, as long as they meet these 2 requirements, and it is an insignia provided by the state that gets placed on their transcript. So it's pretty exciting.
Do they think that a child that goes through high school taking, let's say, Spanish every year would be able to pass something like this? Or do they need more of a background than that even?
Yeah, so that certainly might depend on the child somewhat, right, on the student. But we have a number of students now who are in AP kind of foreign languages, and they're the perfectly appropriate candidate to pass something like this. Yes. So, yeah, it's another good thing.
That was great. Great report.
Thank you.
One more question.
Backtracking just a little bit.
Yes.
The Strengthening Families program, that's not going to be introduced to the mass public, right? The general public, that's going to be invited. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't want people coming just for the dinner.
Right.
Sometimes I don't want to cook, I think I'll go to the dinner. Bring my kid, or kids.
What a great way, though, to get them before something bad like an opiate addiction or any type of addiction kicks in. It's awesome.
That's great. Thank you for that report.
Thank you.
We now move on to business and financial.
So included in the packet is a year-to-date budget report that Mrs. Worsbicky has provided. It's dated August 27th, and I will tell you, you will note some substantial changes at the next meeting once transfers. Liz Lynch in our payroll department is inputting salaries and such, so you'll see a substantial change in this, but we're in great shape at the start of our school year.
And we now move on to personnel.
So included in your packet is a job description for department head. We had actually crafted this a couple of years ago and it did not get brought to school committee for some reason. We did share it with the AEA, Auburn Education Association, the leads of that, who had no issues with it. So it is my recommendation that you approve it as written.
I would entertain that motion.
I make motion to approve the job description for department heads at the secondary level as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Through the chair, I just have a question. How many department heads do we actually have?
So we have one in each curricular area at the high school and one in each curricular area at the middle school. Our technology and foreign language, they both happen to be housed at the high school right now. They are 6 through 12, and we have a PE department head who's K through 12 as well. Yeah, and our music actually, your co-department heads, they also run the gamut.
So about a dozen or so.
We do. We have about a dozen, I would say. Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
We now move on to policies.
So in your packet, you can see that you have 7 policies noted there that have very minor changes made to them. This is just part of our ongoing work to update our policy book. At the back of the packet, I want to draw your attention to policy ADA, titled School District Goals and Objectives. So when we looked at the Mass Association of School Committees, their model policy manual, they do not have this in there. And actually, in looking at this, because we've got the district strategic plan, I don't think that that policy is actually needed, because the strategic plan for the Auburn Public Schools is far more specific than what this generic language. So it is my recommendation that you approve the first 7 as written, and then to eliminate policy ADA, which would be a separate motion.
I would entertain that first motion.
Make a motion to approve the above named policies as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. I would entertain a motion to approve elimination of the ADA district goals language.
That motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, let's vote.
Through the chair, we also just didn't ever vote on the department head job description. We got through the motions, we just didn't vote. We just need all in favor.
We didn't, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there's a vote. Thank you.
If we missed anything else, I'm in favor of it.
And do we need an executive session?
We do
for this?
not.
We do not. All right, and entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. Good night, everyone.